RockEyez would like to welcome Jeff Melin. Hey man, Emerald. Tell me a little bit about that, and congratulations on the new CD, uh, Requiem. And let's start from the beginning when the band first started. Tell me a little bit about the band when it first started.
Yeah, Brian, thanks for having me on. So I play guitar and sing, and I met the bass player Dwayne Hollis in 1984, a long time ago, in Tucson, Arizona, and we played in a band for a couple years, and kind of formed this friendship bond that has persisted throughout all these decades. I moved away. I moved to LA a couple years later. I was trying to kind of stir up a little bit more action. It's kind of where the scene was at the time, and then kind of one thing led to another, and really worked together musically for a long time, but we stayed friends. And then over the years, technology changed a lot, and so it became easier to kind of keep in touch and to sort of share ideas. And then with the advent of improvements in home recording, it came a point. This is probably about 5 years ago, where we said, "Hey, we should do something. I could record this at home now," or I can't remember the exact conversation, but yeah, we should do a song. And I went and hung out with him for a few days, and we threw some ideas around. We actually came up with a couple of songs, and hey, we should record a couple of songs, and then that turned into, hey, we should record an album, and then that turned into, hey, we should put out do a CD and put it out. And really sure what we were doing, or other than just this is what we like to do, and we were having fun. We did a CD called Metal Edition, and it came out in 2014. And then we kind of looked at each other and said, well, now what do? We didn't really think much in terms of promotion or anything at the time. And we said, well, let's do another one. That was fun. So we kind of went in and did another one called The Harvest.
Uh-huh. Okay, go ahead.
So we did a couple albums, and then started along the way just kind of figuring out that, there's people who write about this stuff and have the same kind of interest than we did, and we never really had any delusions of grandeur or anything. We were just kind of making music and figured we might as well put it out there. And, probably some other people who like the same kind of stuff that we did and the stuff that we were doing. And did another CD last year called Angels of Oblivion, and that one seemed to kind of grab a little bit more people's attention. I think a little bit of word of mouth and some of the, bloggers and internet radio, and so got a little bit of momentum on that. And then we just came out with Requiem. We just finished it. It's coming out on October 24th, so 4 weeks. It's coming out, and we're pretty excited about it. We think it, you should always think your new one is the best, and certainly we do. I think it, we kind of pulled together the combination of the ideas and the execution and the recording and whatnot. So, so we're real happy with it.
Cool. I feel a little bit of Black Sabbath vibe to some of the songs and stuff, which I enjoyed and stuff like that. What did you listen to when you were a little bit younger?
Yeah, well, definitely. There's definitely a lot of Sabbath in there. Going way back. Stuff in the '70s. Some Kiss, Sabbath, Zeppelin, UFO, Thin Lizzy, all the kind of classic sort of rock and hard rock that came out, and then it moved into more, still Sabbath, but then merging into Judas Priest and Iron Maiden and Accept, so stuff like that. And at some point, I feel like I kind of got locked in a little bit of a time machine where, I kind of stopped, and music got kind of weird for a while too, because that was the stuff that I really liked, and then at some point there just wasn't new stuff that was really doing it for me.
Right.
So to this day, I still listen to a lot of that same stuff. Pink Floyd, another big one. And so, all that stuff definitely big influence on me. And, then along the way, I think it became, you start out trying to learn the songs, and then at some point I got bored trying to learn other people's songs, that all that, just gets turned into a big musical soup that you pull from, and next thing you know, you're kind of not consciously doing it, but you're pulling, bits and pieces from all that stuff.
Right, yeah. Wow. Tell me how difficult it is to really break into the music business.
Oh, from my point of view, it's impossible. I think that certainly things have changed a lot. Now, going back to when Dwayne and I were first doing our thing, we were living in a place in Arizona where, there really weren't even many clubs and stuff to play. So I moved to LA. I got into a band, and I actually played in a couple bands in, some of the name places, the Whiskey and,
right.
All that stuff. And, but you're still kind of a nobody. And you're really at the whims of, back then anyway, of the, there were the big record companies, and they kind of wanted the next Guns N' Roses, even though the original Guns N' Roses was kind of just getting started. And so, you had to have the look, you had to have the hair, and you had to have all that stuff. And even then, I don't really know the odds. I think you probably better odds of winning Powerball than making it in the music business that way.
Right.
But clearly it does happen, and you have to have a lot of talent and something original, and you need to be kind of in the right place at the right time.
Right.
Moving forward now, in today's paradigm, record sales are really, barely exist anymore with the streaming and and all that stuff. And so, from what I gather, bands now make more money on selling T-shirts at shows and stuff than they do actually selling their music.
I'm sure they do. Yes.
So so I don't really know. And it looks dire, but then you never know what's going to happen, and something might change then to turn the whole thing around, where bands are kind of able to survive again. And we're for us anyway. We're just at this place where it's what we like to do. We like to make music, and we just do it with I think it's harder if you're trying to do it to please somebody else, like, the record company wants this, or the fans expect that. We don't have any of that. We just do what we like.
Right.
And seems like there's plenty of people, especially people kind of both our age, but also younger people who, I don't know, they find dad's old records and stuff, and all of a sudden they go, hey, who's this, UFO, they sound good. And so you get kind of it keeps kind of coming around where I think we feel like we're kind of like the clothes that you hung on to that are back in style again.
Right, yeah.
Definitely feel like the old 70s kind of vibe has, gotten some traction again, and there's certainly a bunch of bands out there that do it and do it well. And I think, I think we have a little bit of that. I think we have a little bit of the kind of modern vibe. I like, some of the more, not really current, but, stuff like Metallica is really different from Sabbath.
Right.
But I think we incorporate, some of that sort of, heaviness of kind of both sides of it into our thing. So,
right, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like, people with really different sort of from different ends of the different genres could appreciate what we're doing.
Wow. How difficult is it to, tour outside of the state that you live in?
Well, I wouldn't know. So we only do this thing. We only record right now.
Right.
We haven't actually played a gig since 1990.
Right.
It was like a reunion thing we did. Recording, is easy because with the internet and, we have anything that's in our way is sort of time zones. But everything else is, not difficult to do communication-wise. If we were to want to, play, it would be a whole different ball game.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm not sure how we would actually pull it off. At one point we were trying to figure out a way to do a couple kind of one-off shows, and it just didn't really happen. So the live thing, ideally we'd be playing live. It's just not practical in the given our current geography.
Wow. So what are your plans after this release?
This is really the first release that we are kind of planning ahead a little bit, and we, the record's actually been done and mixed for a little while, and but rather than putting it out sort of the day we get it in the mail from the printer, we put in a little bit of buffer so we could, get it out to some folks like yourself, and talk to some people and get some reviews out there and get some interviews. So, just to try to get a little bit of exposure before it's actually available. And then, the last one we did, we released it last September, and we were doing some interviews and, quite a bit of stuff even up until, very recently. So, I imagine we're just going to kind of keep trying to, to talk this one up a little bit, and it's really, again, it's almost impossible to sell your CDs. We end up, giving a lot of way to promotion and just trying to get the word out. Say, here's 3 or 4, give them to your friends. And it's, we're just kind of trying to spread what we do. And we'll just kind of continue to do that for the rest of into next year. And then my guess is that we'll start writing again, and we're just going to kind of keep doing it, as long as you can. You never grow out of the dream, though, that you had when you were 15, where, somebody might hear this, and XYZ happens. And so, we're doing it just because we love to do it and hope that other people will enjoy listening. And if something more comes out of it at some point, that's awesome. And if not, then we're just going to continue doing what we love to do.
Cool. Emerald, Requiem. Jeff, it was great talking to you, and, I wish you the best. Would you like to say anything to the fans out there?
I just want to say thanks for listening, and go check it out. Emerald Requiem will be out on October 24th. And it's pretty old school, but it's good old school.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Jeff. I appreciate it.
All right, Brian. Take care.
Talk to you later.
Thanks for calling.
Bye-bye.